Okay, so good afternoon everyone. My name is Arnel Madraso. I'm the teacher blogger. So today I'm here at this is Daisy Road, Sunrise Village. So Daisy Road here, and then I entered Sunrise Village to visit our rice land. So this is Giwan Rice Land. So or Basakan. So we call this in Sabacano, Basakan. So purposely I visited here talking about the rice shortage. So I just purposely let the issue die down. Then everything is okay now. I hope so. And then let's talk about what I think about really the issue of shortage. So I'm an heir. I'm a madraso. We are not really that rich, but we have lot. So I inherited a property that I inherited from my parents would be this. Okay, if you hear the sound of the noise, this is almost to be harvested. Okay, so this is almost to be harvested. But actually this is at our area. Ours is, can you see that mango tree there? So in the middle, that is where our lot is. So I think I own the bigger share, so that's around 7,000 plus, and I think it was more than, and then I got my 1,000 square meter share, and then I bought the rest, so I have 3,000 plus. I own the bigger share in this lot. So okay, I actually do not participate in this discussions about rice shortage, but you know, I have so many things in mind, because you talk about rice ever since when I was a kid. Since I'm an heir, we have blood, so we consume rice not by buying, because we have blood. So they're making noise because they're booing away the maya, because maya would eat the rice. So it's almost there, the palay as we call it, palay, it's already there. So, you know, at this stage, birds like maya would just eat the rice whenever they can. But of course, you know, there would be some sort of a rope connecting, and then with it creates noise. Other than the tin can, they also shout so that the maya will fly away. So, okay. Let's talk about me, my experience being. I know the process. I know the process of this farming. Since my father used to bring me here with the tenants and all. What I know is that 7 members, or 7 heirs. For 7 heirs, each would get 5 sacks. That's 5 sacks before. So the 5 sacks of palay would turn into about 250 to about 100 plus kilograms. So that's two sacks more than, and then plus the ipa, because the palay. So you will have to grind this, separate the brown skin, and then that brown skin is tiki-tiki. So since my father used to have swine, so we get the tiki-tiki and mix it with vegetables, and that would be the feed of the swine or the pig. So I know the process. So the farmers would call this abono. So they will have to deduct all the operational expenses, and then as agreed, they will be giving this amount. So per year will get about 5 sacks of palay that is converted into. So the 5 sacks of palay, terms of rice, that's about 100 kilos plus. So there will be good yield if it is dried well. So if it is moist, then fewer amount of rice. So you really have to dry this. So after harvesting, you still have to dry it. You cannot deliver this to the rice mill right away. So they will have to dry the palay. I used to dry palay before. So my father wouldn't want to pay. A rice mill would have additional charge for drying up the palay. So my father used to let me do the drying before. So I used to dry palay. So we call this in Chabacano palay. So I dried it. So about 2 or 3 times. Put it on the ground, and then it will dry up, and then after that, so if it's really dry, that's the time you can already send it to the rice mill. So we are now here at Pilapil. So Pilapil is a pathway going to our lot. So you cannot have a rice land without Pilapil. Pilapil is like the passageway. So this one is an arduous process for the farmers, because when you plant, there has to be a pathway so that you can pass. No? So, ala pa. Hey, sorry. Okay, so this is the Pilapil. Remember this word Pilapil? Who is that? Who is that major contestant? So, there's that Miss Universe contestant who has grown at the Ricefield, and she used to practice walking at the Pilapil. Because in Pilapil, you have to have the control. You have to control your legs so you won't fall. So look at that, right? So this is almost to be harvested. Do you see that? Okay, so this is the perfect time to visit, because of course harvest time. So I will be getting my share. So they said that maybe it's about second week of October. So if you hear the noise, they are really creating noise so that the Maya will fly away. Okay. So here I observe, when you walk, just walk slowly. Just do not really be too anxious or excited walking, because considering the heat. So it's 4 o'clock. So imagine, so this is already 4:45, so it's not anymore hot. One problem with farmers would be the heat exhaustion. So you really have to be adept of the environment, the heat, so that you will be healthy doing the job of planting. So ours is still there. So not really sure where I'm going. I think so. There is a roof. Okay, so this one. It's here. So transfer to another tilapia here. Straight. So here, I think part of the perimeter of the lot is already here. Okay. So, but the location is there. You see that mango? That is where my lot is. Okay. The Madaraso lot. So we will see. So I went to the house of Drigo. Drigo is a tenant. He said, or not he, she, the daughter said that Rodrigo is here to apply fertilizer. But how could it be to apply fertilizer when in fact we're expecting harvest time, right? So just relax because I have water. So if I feel the exhaustion, I got water. So if you look at this. Oh, si Drigo! Drigo! Oh! Namira siya. Blalanak taki daw. El anak. Taki daw. Amo ya kasi. Blalanak taki. So, onde pasa, si andayo alinamanga. Onde pasa. Manderecho yo kabar. Okay. Renda to lang. Hey, so good afternoon again. So I'm Arnel Madraso, I'm the teacher blogger. So this is exactly the lot that we are looking at. So there's already a subdivided area here. So before this used to be one big lot, the share of my father. And what happened here was I was assigned to subdivide this. So 7 heirs from our uncle, aunties, no. So I subdivided this, and then I got my share from my father. I think my share is there somewhere there. So if you look at this, perhaps this share is coming from my uncle. So let's talk about the shortage. So why shortage? So as I was saying, I know more or less, I'm not really an expert, but I know the process of farming in terms of rice. So the farmers would, I'm not just sure whether it's 50-50 because there's operational expenses, like labor. One factor that you have to consider when you venture into tenancy, or if you're a tenant and you want to have a business on farming, you have to consider labor. This is really laborious, no, in terms of taking care of the rice per stage, and you have to really take care of the plant, the rice, daily, on a daily basis. So of course there's pestilence, no? There's insects, no? So part of the expenses would be fertilizer, and of course the grass. You need to really take off the grass, because this would also affect the nutrients that would be necessary for the rice. So you have to uproot the grass. You also have to protect the plant from insects and all. And if it's already growing, right now there's already the fruit or the rice. You have to consider also the maya. Maya would be the birds that would eat up your palay or your rice. So in short, number one is there's shortage because there's demand, high demand. So population is rising, high demand, so low supply. So if I'm right, I'm not really that of an expert, but I heard the mayor, it's I think less than 30. If she said 30, less than 30, 35, or was it 35% that the local farmers in Zamboanga City, only 35, or was it 15 or 20% the local farmers can supply? So in other words, not enough supply. Hence, there has to be import and maybe declare the rice coming from Malaysia as legal. So do we import or not? So here's the thing. So why is there shortage? Okay. here's my observation. I'm not an expert. This farmer, this tenant, Rodrigo, is not the original tenant. He used to be, the uncle used to be the original tenant. And then he fought for this. He fought for this lot in the agrarian office because he wants to handle this. Before, he used to work with his uncle, and then that uncle was actually asking too much from him, too much of an abono, of sacks of rice, in order for him to sustain this land. So it's just like the uncle was the one who is already owning the land. So, but that is what is stated in the contract before with my father, my lolo, and so without the uncle anymore in the issue, so Rodrigo is the one handling it. So I was asking him, what's the disadvantage? One is you really have to sustain finances for the labor. This is really laborious, no? When it comes to farming, is laborious. It's not easy because you need to really take care of the plant, no? So from the start, no, you plant, and then stages, you have to take care of the rice plant as consistent as possible, no? So why is there shortage? Okay, before, when I started venturing into this type of business, I somehow, before I went for Lasal, I was the one who subdivided this. So when I was already getting my share, I sold. So I get my share and then I sell my share. So I send the palay to the rice mill, and then I turn it into 25 kilos. Then I sell the 25 kilo rice, 25 kilo sack of rice for about 750, 800 at the time. So now I think the value is about 900 or even 1,000 because this is of good quality. So this around, if you compare it to the market, this is about the quality. This is about 50 pesos or 60 pesos per kilo. So along that line, so while I was doing this minor business, enterprise, so I'm the one getting, but I'm just asking help in terms of drying up. I'm not the one drying the palay. It's Drigo. Sometimes for free, sometimes I hand him 50 pesos or even one pack of cigarettes. So the drying up is not a problem. So then I began asking, so can I enter into financing at that time? So he said, okay, so this will be your earnings. So more or less depends on the typhoon, if there's typhoon or if there's disaster sometimes. So that would affect the yield, the harvest. So okay, so right. So that's one. No, there are factors to consider also in terms of why will I venture into farming. So there's so many expenses, labor. Like Rodrigo, he's not the only one doing the work. So he is hiring people. No, he is a tenant, but to do the business, he is hiring people. Like for example now, this one, he is of course hiring these people to shoo away the maya, and of course in planting, uprooting bad grass that would compete with the nutrients of the soil. So that's one. And of course, when I ventured into this type of business, what happened was, at that time there were lots. Do you know San Roque? San Roque used to be a rice field also. The lot fronting what's this high school? So the high school is Don Pablo Lorenzo. So before, I think 1999 to 2000. So when I was still in CTI before, I started managing, not really managing, but in terms of subdividing, and then I entered into selling of my own share. At that time, the lots that you see fronting Don Pablo Lorenzo would still be rice land, but now it's subdivision. That's one factor why there is low supply, because there's low production. There's no more lot really enough here in the Metro Zamboanga. If you go up east west, if you go up east, you would see Ricefield. But here in Metro Zamboanga, what you have here would be G1, this lot. So in terms of hectares, I don't have the figures, but look at this is supposed to be the lot. Okay. Now, is this enough? So this is what the mayor is telling us. Now, including all the other areas in Zamboanga City, we also have other lot like the Kuruan. So in Kuruan, that's about a hectare. I'm only speaking on my behalf. So in terms of the turnout of yield or harvest, so far, twice a year harvest. So imagine that, twice a year. There were times there were three times harvest, but now since there's a problem with rice business, I think that's twice a year. So now it's October, I'm waiting for this. So this is harvest time. So I will get 5 sacks of 25 kilos, plus we get the tiki-tiki. So the tiki-tiki is the brown texture that is separated, so we can use that to feed our swine. So my mother-in-law she has this takes care of swine or pig. So she is having her own. She takes care of the pig, and then of course she has to think of the food, the feed. Okay, so we are inching closer to the mango tree. So that is where we're going. That is where the lot exactly is. So some of this will be, this right side will be, I think, belongs to my aunt. So I can still remember the times when I look at this. Right, so this is maybe a few more days. This will be ready for harvesting. So just maybe sit and then vlog. Yeah. So that's one. If you ask me why there's shortage, because there's fewer lots that would plant rice. So what's the reason why the lots are turned into subdivision? Well, they say it's a good business. Okay, so now look at so this is what this turned out to be. So after harvesting, they plant tomato. Okay, so this is what I can also talk to Rodrigo about it, because this lot is supposed to be with palay, but we allow him to plant this so that it's an additional income for him. He has a family, so whenever he plants other fruit-bearing trees, we are not getting share anymore, like this one. So he's using the lot, he's earning. Okay, so if you look at the lot, if you look at the ground, it's moist because there's good irrigation system. Okay. So there's good irrigation system here. this is here. This is where we relax, right? So power. So this is where we vlog.